up, my social anti-socials? My name is Ginsu. Welcome to my personal public diary. So today I just have a very quick subject matter to touch on. But first let me say, there's someone or some of you have reached out to me regarding my last diary session regarding my sexual coercion in relationships. A diary entry, and I really appreciate your messages. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I appreciate you trusting me with your stories, and let's heal. Let's heal and grow, and you know what, have a voice. So your messages really do touch me. I appreciate that a lot. So I just wanted to say that, and now that's out the way, today's subject matter is the importance of training your nemesis. Um, this came to my mind because something happened to me. I don't know if my memory is terrible these days. I'm still recovering my memory, you know why, but it's getting better. I think it's somewhere during this week or last week, but I was on my way to go somewhere, and you know what? Somebody pissed me off. And my temperament was very quick. Um, and in my temperament being very quick, I realized that, you know what? I really have a quick temper, short temper. And also that speaks to my patience level. I'm gonna drop that and go ahead and say this. For the past 3 years that I've been talking about, that I had been going through a series of so many things happening and also being aware of regarding myself, that period literally felt like, or still feels like, God has been training my nemesis. And it's very important to train your nemesis, and the reason being is, unless you have full control over your nemesis and you're aware of your nemesis, you cannot be given more responsibility. Because God, one thing for sure, and I said this very jokingly in passing to one of my friends who also, I felt like he's not aware of what his nemesis is. And when we have conversations, we're always having conversations about prosperity, where we need to be, how we're implementing ourselves to improve ourselves. But he's not figuring out like why some things are not working out. And I told him in passing, I said, brother, are you aware what your nemesis is? And I said to him, you know, you will not get where you want to be because God is responsible. God is very responsible. I feel like that's one thing people do not understand or have forgotten or are not conscious of as much. God is exceptionally responsible. So you will not be given something unless you can handle it, unless you are prepared, unless you are ready, unless you have prepped yourself enough to take on that responsibility. And so I said that to him in passing. He joked, and he even said, "Oh, don't say that, don't say that." I'm like, I'm very serious. God is exceptionally responsible. So you'll not be given what you're not ready for. And that, applying that message to myself as well, as I stated, like, I spent the past 3 years in this deep depression, and that depression, I went through a various of things, from learning to detach from self, from others, from things, to learning how to identify like what really matters. I had to identify things that matter, or people that matter to me and to my cause, as well as what can I say, redefining or defining, like, let's say, success, and like what really matters in the definition of success to the core of where I'm supposed to be going. There were so many things that had to be trained out of me, and now from the past experience that I just come from, it was a matter of actually being reminded. being reminded of one, the importance of maintaining the standard. Um, you know, when we are out here doing things, sometimes we compromise, and we compromise out of trying, like I said, trying to fill the voids, trying to bandage ourselves using people or things, and then we compromise the standard that which actually from beginning was God's will for us, and then we compromise it, and then we put ourselves in a disposition to God's favor and our intended purpose. Right. So, I mean, all that mess that happened, my relationship, whatever, I know, I absolutely know why it happened, and I became aware of it. And that was part of training my nemesis, because there was there were multiple nemesis, emotional nemesis that were attached to that occurrence. That occurrence made me aware of, like I say, like this old diary entry I talked about. I came to a realization of how hungry my heart and spirit were. So I tried to, I've been for years I've been trying to fill myself. It's either academics, it's either work, it's either food. Like I had the whole eating disorder situation happen to me, and I became big. I gained a lot of weight. And relationships, and all these things boil down to my emotional unattended needs that I had to recognize. And I was like, oh, this has been affecting me for so long. And I had to, after having identified that nemesis, I had to then be honest with myself, because I came to an awareness. There's a post I actually even made on my socials where I was talking about surrendering to God. That is because after some while of meditation and asking, like, yo, I've really seen these things now, and I don't know what to do, because clearly all these years I'd been sabotaging myself so much and not realizing that it was these nemesis. Clearly that speaks to my inability to attend to them, the inability of other people to attend to them, the inability of things to attend to them. What can I do? The only way, because not my environment, not the people in it, not even myself are capable, therefore I'll have to surrender completely to God. And every time now, from that day till now, every time I say my prayers, I always say, God, please also remember these nemesis of mine, that I'm incapable, the environment is incapable, people are incapable, things are incapable of fulfilling and filling them up, or satisfying them, that you fill them up, that you fill me up, that I do not seek outside, I do not look anyway, and that I be whole, you know. That was a step. That those nemesis really they really humbled me to go back to completely surrendering to God. Um, those of you who'd been here a little longer way back might know that I be having beef with God. Like I've been angry at God. Like I be daring. I'm like, I'm not praying to you. I'm not gonna bow. I'm not gonna pray. I'm upset. I'm angry, and rightfully so. I know there are people or teachings that go around that you need not question God. You need not be angry, and it's like, no. I don't submit to that teaching. There's a reason why we should be questioning. Questioning leads to understanding and in depth. Your anger is not something that is unclean or unholy or wrong. You were given, God given that anger. You are God given that anger, and therefore anger leads to action. you know it really is a fuel for something. And so in my case, my anger was really directed at God. Like, I'll be mad, God, and I'll let you know that I'm mad. And yeah, there were many, many other revelations that came from my anger and my beef with God. I'll talk about it another day. But yeah, my nemesis have been trained so much. I'd gone through the process also for there was a time where I really felt like I needed complete silence, complete stillness. Um and at that time I felt mute. I couldn't speak. There was a period where I couldn't speak. I like everything quieted. And my family, they were so frustrated with me. They thought I was ignoring them. Because they would speak to me, I would just look at them. And at that time, it's because my world needed to be still. And for me to, because they didn't understand what was going on with me. I knew, but I felt like my environment, there were so many fallouts. So I would just literally go book myself a hotel somewhere and stay there for some time, a couple of weeks, where I needed clarity just to be by myself. And the muteness that came from that was, it was intended to make me listen and not speak. Um, I would fall into deep meditation where I'm just like, I don't want to hear anything outside. I don't have anything to say, but I just need you, God, to like communicate with me. And it was at that time also where I understood levels of training my ego. Like I said in my previous diary entries, I have a huge ego. My ego is big, it's very boastful. My higher self is majestic, okay? But even that majestic higher self needs some training and put into parameters that fit into um its role and purpose for why it's there, and for it to direct me to where I ought to be. And I had to look at a lot of things, like to detach from my higher self some of the things I had picked up in this world, things that frustrated me, like the pace of things, how they were moving, like my frustrations with failures, because I have the need to consistently excel. When you come from a background where excellence is the only standard, yeah, failing can literally irritate your ego. Um, Disrespect, like so many other things had, you know, been irritating my ego so much, and I needed to detach those things and detach from them and literally silence my world. That's where I had silenced my social media, silenced, switched my numbers. I disappeared on people. I felt like I just need to stop talking and being seen. Like I just need the world to be still, my world to be calm. And yeah, to a certain a great extent, my ego got trained. I'm not saying it's perfect all the way, because there are encounters where, uh, situations be testing you. And sometimes if the other party is not graceful enough, be careful, because a swine can drag you to the mud and you both be swines. Okay, in the mud. Even if your vibrations was up there and you meet somebody down there, they will absolutely drag you to that level. It takes a certain level of restraint, and I'm still struggling with the restraint. As I said, my temperament is horrid. Okay, so when you are aware of your nemesis and you train your nemesis, or you really consult to the higher power for assistance to train your nemesis, and you actually get to the point where you master your nemesis. Now, this is the language of self-mastery. Absolutely, what is meant for you, what is your responsibility, what is assigned to you will be given to you and handed to you. That goes with even the life that you seek for yourself will be given to you. Because, I mean, God is exceptionally responsible. God is not going to hand you something to just hang yourself with. You need to be prepped up and um, properly set up for you to receive that. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to highlight, that it is very important to be in constant awareness of self and your nemesis, and know how to check your nemesis. Nemesis never go away. They never go away. They like your they're like your, what can I say, your weaknesses and your strengths. Your weaknesses and strengths can always be there, and your weaknesses can definitely be worked on. You know, you can always improve them a bit more to be a bit more reinforceable and not falter to them much. Same with Nemesis, you know. They need to be trained so that they don't disturb the the purpose that is intended for you, or the responsibility that is handed out to you. Um, I guess this is also the message to myself to note also that as I was walking, because I was walking to the mall because I needed to go somewhere. But as I was walking, I don't know, something in my spirit just said, you need to train your temper. Because I have really been on a journey of a lot of different levels of self mastery, and I'm getting somewhere. But it's my temper that's still, I could be furious and make a decision just like that. Um, I could, and my temper is very closely connected to my ego, that huge ego. So you can imagine a bad temper with a big ego. Not so cute, ain't it? And drastic things can be born out of that. Yeah. So how am I willing to train my temper? I really have no idea. I absolutely have no idea. And because I have no idea, I be praying about, like, okay, God, it seems like I need to train my temper so that I don't get in trouble. Um, how do I do that? You know, I do understand the fundamental of it is restraint, but how do you practically apply that without just being aware? You know, yeah, man. So train your nemesis, be aware of your nemesis, and understand that training your nemesis could save you a lot. Self mastery is grand key to a harmonious life. It's not going to be perfect because restraint itself is not fun. It's not fun, okay? But it is discipline, some sort of a discipline. So, yeah, that's what I had to say today. Um, Maybe someday I'll have a testimony on how I'd been able to train my temper a little bit better, you know? Yeah. Anyway, that's it from me to you. Till next time. I'm out. Peace.